Warning, this video might not be for you if you take life way too seriously.
What's up, guys? Well, I tried to do a video this morning for the same car. Let me tell you, trying to shoot a video before you go to work, yeah, that's a whole nother experience. So as you can tell, we're in my shop still, and which brings me to the car we're gonna go check out. So today, what are we gonna check out? This beautiful thing. It's not an orange pumpkin. It's actually a 2003 Honda Civic Si. Yes, it's a race car. I know, I get it. Britt, how many do you own? This one's not mine. I did build it. I built it 2.5 years ago. Yeah, started 2020, beginning of COVID. Let me tell you how fun that was. So yeah, this is a Lemans car. Those of you who don't know what Lemans is, you've probably heard of the 24 hours of Lemans. Well, they made a off of that. It's 24 hours of Lemans. What does that mean? They're supposed to be $500 cars. Those of you who are already going, hey, a 2003 Honda Civic Si for $500? How's that happen? It doesn't. Give you a rundown. It was a $1,600 car. How did I get it down to the 500 range? Well, guess what? You're allowed to sell stuff to make it to get there. What all did I sell? The stereo that was in it, because it was super nice. The suspension that was underneath it, but it was coilovers and they were kind of, and the car was super low. Like you couldn't even pull into my shop, which just has a very slight incline. So yeah, there you go. Britt, why don't you own it anymore? Well, guess what? I sold it. I sold it for various reasons. One of which, ironically, was because I didn't want it sitting in my shop. I didn't want to have to pull it in and out when I did work. Well, we're going to a race next month in Kentucky for the 24 hours of Lemans. So, the guy who owns the car, unfortunately, can't go for really good circumstances. I'm not going to announce it. If he wants to, go ahead. David, you know who you are. So, it's sitting here until we leave. Those of you who don't know about 24 hours of Lemans, let's go through that real quick. It's pretty basic. You basically take a $500 car, you put all the safety equipment in it, which unfortunately is not cheap, which is why some people don't get into it, because you basically, you have a $500 car and you put between $4,000 to $5,000 if you can put the cage in yourself into the car, between the cage, the seat, the belts, the fire suppression system, making the brakes safe, all that kind of stuff. You end up between $4,000 and $5,000. Now that's if you can put the cage in. If you can't put the cage in yourself, you're more like the 6 to 8 range, depending on the car. Some cars are more difficult to put a cage in. Some have prefab cages. This car got a prefab cage, which I wish I had never done. However, I was into it too far. I was at the time trying to get the car done. It got the prefab cage. I did make alterations to it. It does work. It's fine. You know, it is what it is. About the car, the intention was to road race this car. This car was actually originally going to be built for Champ Car. One thing led to another. We didn't do Champ Car. So I discovered Lemans. I was like, hey, that should be fun. So we did it. I built a Lemans car. We did it, I think about 1.5 years ago. We ran at Sebring down in Florida. It was a lot of fun. There's a group of about 5 of us. The racing team's name is Bar Racing. Before you ask, we are a drinking team with a racing problem. No, not really. We are a very good, close group of friends. We all enjoy doing this kind of shenanigans. So I put the car together. So Bar Racing, what does that stand for? Broke Ass Racers Racing. That's exactly what it is. It's kind of a run on a joke too. We have a pretty cool logo thanks to my buddy David. So that's what this car was built for. Now back to the car, because that's what you're all watching this YouTube channel for. 2003 Honda Civic Si. Yep, if anybody who's like, hey, cool, some of you are like, it's the bastard children of Honda Civic SIs, which case you're not wrong. Why is it a bastard child of it? Well, to be honest with you, anybody who's been on the track with this car or done any kind of spirited driving knows it's not particularly fast. The engine has 160 horsepower. which you should be able to see right there. It is a K20. It does have a intake on it. That's the only mod done to this car other than a 6-puck clutch. So the K20 has 160 horsepower new. I'm going to go ahead and take a stab in the dark saying this one is about 45 to 50 horse shy of that. That's my guess. It does have a close gear ratio transmission. The car does have 210,000 miles on it. Do I believe it's the original engine? No. Why? I had to fix a valve cover gasket leak on this thing, and I opened up the motor. It was way too clean. Either that or somebody took really good care of it, and by the shape of the car when I got it, I'm gonna venture that wasn't the case. Back to the car. Yep, 2003 Honda Civic Si, 160 horse motor, close gear ratio transmission. It does have a short shifter on it, which I will show you. Give you a little bit of a walk around. So the car, you know, it's in actually pretty decent shape overall. I joke, but let's be real. It is running a set of BMW bottle cap 14-inch with Falcon Azenas on it. Why? We're about to race the car. I really like these tires. They seem to hold up really well. All things considering. So the car does have a full cage, which this is roll bar pouting, and this is what happens when you leave it outside. It falls apart. Thank God I have more of it. I'll get to put some more in it. It does have a full cage. It is dirty. Get over it. Sorry. It does run a stock instrument cluster. It does have a kill switch. It does run without the clutch because I bypassed the switch. But you can see 209,000 miles. Runs perfect though. Doesn't smoke, tick, knock, or do any of that. Detachable steering wheel. As you can see, and it's nothing spectacular. This car was built on a budget. However, I say budget. As you can see, this is not the cage that I originally bought. I added this bar because of one of our drivers is really tall. So you have to be about here when you're with your helmet on inside the car, which is a challenge on every single car. It seems to come out. It does have a 6-point cage. The doors are gutted, so that way I could put the doors into the door bars into it, because I like that setup. There is down bars in the back that tie in. Hopefully you can see it. I really wish that was closer, but like I said, I didn't design the cage, I just put it in. The wing that all of you are going to make fun of me for. It's functional. That's right. This is functional. Why is it functional? We found out very quickly. This car in a corner is very light in the back end. Figured it out, went to the firm to do a test day. That's why you have test days, where you actually get to drive the car. And found out the back end gets very light when going around a corner at a rapid speed. That's because there's basically no weight. The fuel tank sits here, and there's no weight back there. So, that's why the wing's there. It's functional. It works. It actually does work. To be honest with you, it works a little too well. It doesn't let the car hit that slip point. We all tried to find it. None of us really succeeded, which I'm good with. Why? Because there's now at the time when we took this to Sebring, there was 2, I believe, very rookie drivers. They had never done door-to-door racing. They had never been a part of door-to-door racing. So I set the car up to be very forgiving. Now you're gonna ask, how did I set it up? Well, start with that downforce in the back. The wing can be adjusted so there's not so much downforce. I get it. A friend of mine really hates the downforce that thing has in the back. It's not changing. So, how else did I set up the car? Well, it's got a lot of camber up front, which I will be eliminating some of it. I think it had like 2.8 degrees of negative camber up front, and it was slightly towed out, like 0.1, I think it was. Nothing spectacular. In the back, I think it had 1.2 degrees of negative camber, and it was, I think, slightly towed in. And I did it on purpose. It makes the car very stable, makes it very predictable. However, it makes the car very tight. It doesn't like to slip. I think only one of us ended up in the dirt, and we only ended up going into the penalty box once, and that guy will be forever known as Black Flag. So unfortunately, I'll let you all figure out who it was, because he's not going to be going to this race because of circumstances. So yeah, that's about everything about the car. It does have a catback exhaust. It does have Manzo lowering springs, which are kind of garbage, but it lowered the car down enough. It made it stable enough to where it wasn't sitting stock height. So it is running Hawk brake pads, both front and rear. It does have RBF 660 brake fluid in it. Why? I don't know if any of you all have ever experienced pedal fade. When you hit the brakes, it's a very uncool feeling. Why is it uncool? For those of you who don't know, the farther and harder you push that brake pedal when you have pedal fade, it doesn't stop. It does you no good. So what do you have to do in that case? Butt pucker with the seat and hold on. The car will slow a little. Not what you want it to do, I promise. Ford vs. Ferrari, the movie, has a pretty good, obviously exaggerated experience of what brake pedal or brake fade feels like. It's very uncool. So I leave stock rotors on it. Why do I leave stock rotors on it versus vented and all that? That is my sacrificial point of this car. Once again, it's not mine anymore, but the gentleman who owns the car knows why I do certain things. He can do whatever he wants. It's his car. But I prefer to leave stock rotors because it'll leave a point to where something can fail. You know, I would like my brake pads to work. If the rotors fail, you get a warning most of the time, and you get a real massive pedal vibration when you hit the brakes, that kind of thing. Or you can visually see them. You can look at them, see little blue hot spots, or, you know, so that's how you can tell they're warped. So the car is set up to do racing. Obviously, it's a very budget-friendly built race car. You know, I mean, I say that, but I mean, we'll run through how much it costs. The cage, when I bought it, was $1,000. I probably had 25 to 30 hours worth of man hours of putting the cage in it, not including having to buy more bars. The brake pads were 160 for the front, 120 for the rear. The steering wheel wasn't much. That was like 60 bucks. The disconnect was only like 40. The seat was, I think, 280 because we're not required to run SFI seats. The belts were 140, 150, something like that. The tires at the time, because we used to run 15s, that was another $500 at the time because we went through a whole set in a race, and I don't still understand how that happened. But it did, so there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, the fire suppression system, which, by the way, it has it. The fire bottle's being out serviced right now. So yeah, the fire suppression system was $550. And then you go into all the little bits and bobs. You know, it's got a 6-putt clutch in it. I did go through the entire front end, inner and outer tie rods, lower ball joints, upper ball joints, control arms. Did the same in the back. Obviously did a full service on the car, which we're not allowed to run coolant. We have to run water. So had to do that. So, I mean, as you can see, I mean, I'm not going to do the math. You can go ahead and do it. It wasn't a cheap, they're not cheap to build. Like I said, if you put the cage in yourself, it saves you $2,000 to $3,000, but still, it's still, you know, you're spending, I think I had 30 hours in the cage. I really do. That didn't include gutting the interior, taking the door panels off. You know, the car was a full car when I got it. So that's why I'm super happy that the gentleman who owns it likes it. Oh, hey, back to that. His wife bought it as a wedding present for him. I love this. That's from his, I'm assuming they got it. So a big thank you to him. He is letting us use the car. You know, he's not going to be there. I will be videoing the weekend. I'll take some video of all the cars that get to go because Lemans Racing is a riot. And I'll put it up on the channel. You know, I understand that this is kind of boring for some of you. You guys like to see unique cars, but you know, this is, you know, a unique car. You know, there is a GIF about this car from Lemans. Super proud of that. I'm pretty sure why I was on there is because our flag thing was a big orange dino. But if you look at the rest of the car, you'll see it's Mario themed. There's dinosaurs all over it. Oh, by the way, shout out to that brewery. Love that place. It's in Tampa, Florida. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The beer's amazing. But yeah, as you can see, it's a Mario themed Abu. This is probably my favorite thing the graphics that I put on the car. Super cool. So I have to edit this tonight, which means I get to watch all this video again. So guys, I really hope you enjoy this. If you enjoyed seeing this kind of stuff, I have another race car It's kind of a POS, but it's a race car. Please let me know. I'm dying to find out what you guys want to watch, what you guys like watching. I do pay attention. I do pay attention to all the comments. I read every one of them. Drop a comment if you guys like seeing this kind of stuff. Let me know if you guys would much rather find these unique cars, which, by the way, next week I got a really cool one coming up. That'll be up. So you can imagine that'll be a fun time. So let me know what you guys want to see. I got to get to 1,000. I'm begging you. When I get to 1,000, I promise you there's going to be something huge. It'll be to, you know, I'll probably have some form of a question, and there'll be some prize that I'll either mail out or give away, or you know, something like that. But not till I get to 1,000. Do I know what it's going to be yet? No, not yet. It could be, you know, depends on how long it takes. It could be a free car. It could just be a detail of a car. I could paint it. I might give away a paint job. You know, you never know. But, you know, I might send out a gift card to Amazon for, you know, $100 or something like that. But I got to get to 1,000 first. So, you know, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to see, what you guys like seeing. If you guys like seeing the Will It Run stuff, that's a little bit more difficult. But, so, keep me in the loop. I'll keep y'all in the loop. We can all be happy. So, please like, subscribe, comment, all the fun YouTube spiel. So, guys, I say it after every video, and I mean it. Life is incredibly short. Before you know it, it's over. Before I know it, I'm turning, you know, a specific age in a few years, and I can't believe it already. So life's too short. Get out, enjoy it, live it. Same respect though. If you enjoy like staying at home playing video games, hey man, more power to you. You do it. You know, sometimes you have friends that do that. I get to keep in touch with part of my family through video games. I enjoy it. It's great. If that's your thing, do it. If you enjoy going out and being stupid in race cars with your friends, like I do, like I get to do next week or in 2 weeks when we go up to Kentucky, hey man, go do it. If you guys want suggestions or help, if you guys have one or want to build one of these things, I'll be more than happy to help. There is a gentleman that his name's John Pagel. I can't pronounce. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Super nice guy. I jokingly call him the cage Nazi. And I don't blame him. He's very specific on what he wants to see out of these roll cages. But full respect for the guy. I get why you do it. I have nothing but respect. I call you the cage Nazi as a joke. Please don't take it personal because you might actually watch this. So if you do, hey man, someday I want to meet you in person, shake your hand, say thanks for all the help, thanks for answering all the questions. Massive amount of respect for you. So guys, take care. Life's too short.